Welcome to part two of the Bills rebuild. As you can see, you missed a couple seasons since we're in 2029 at 8-1 at the midway point. Before we talk about this season, let's go back and catch you up because I feel like it's important to know how we got here and why we're here. When we last left you, we won the Super Bowl 23-21 over my Philadelphia Eagles. It was a great season. And then came the 2026 season. We lost in the Super Bowl to the Saints. And yes, the Saints are a playbook I want to talk about. But let's talk about this season. We are one game away from having a perfect regular season. My first ever perfect regular season in Madden 25. We're going to do it together. We're not going to wait to the end of the season to do this, but as you can see, we are just absolutely killing it in every category. Finishing strong here. Young team, a great team. Let's do this together. And we do it. It was a close one. 14-6, but we get it done. All green, 7th in points, 5th in pass yards, 10th in rush yards, 1st in points allowed, 5th in pass yards allowed, and 10th stopping the run. We would later take care of the Jets in the second round of the playoffs, followed by a big matchup against the Ravens. In the AFC Championship game, we would win a high-scoring game there, and that would take us, to the Super Bowl against the Saints. And whatever, we're going for 18-0 and a second straight Super Bowl. Let's take a look at the stats for the Saints. Talk about who they got. All right, second year man, Andy Bannon, 4,500 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Damian Pierce, 800 yards and 10 touchdowns. Bannon with 3 rushing touchdowns and 400 yards. Wow, okay. George Cole is their leading wide receiver. What about Chris Olave and Rashee Rice? 2 tight ends getting it done for them. Defensively, Brian Breesy's their leading sacker. 5 picks from Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Paulson and Debo got 4. They have 290 overall corners right now and an 80-something third corner. It's a tougher matchup. It is what it is. But we are an absolute machine, and I expect victory here. Saints are always there with their playbook. You always see a quarterback rise for them. But nah, we got this one. 18-0 coming in. I can feel it. I can feel it in my plumes. And we didn't fucking get it. Unfucking believable. You gotta be kidding me. I knew I jinxed it. Shouldn't have been so goddamn confident. Let's take a look at the game. Then we have the 2027 season. Josh Allen was MVP. And the Cincinnati Bengals won the Super Bowl over the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles losing again in another Super Bowl. And then the following year, Josh Allen again MVP. But the Bengals, they win their second straight Super Bowl. The first MVP season Josh Allen had in 2026. He had 4,500 yards passing, 37 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He also put 495 yards on the ground with 6 rushing touchdowns. The following season, he had 4,776 yards passing with 44 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And on the ground, he had 467 yards rushing with 9 rushing touchdowns. Well, as you can see, that catches you up to where we are now. 8-1, having a great season. Those last 2 seasons, it kind of started off struggles too. We were 2-2, I think, both those seasons. Finished 12 wins, 13 wins. Never got the first round bye, except for that 17-0 season. Rebuilding a team in the AFC is very tough. You got the Bengals have a great playbook and great players. You have the Chiefs, of course. We know who they are. You have the Ravens, who are a great team. Usually one of those three teams are winning multiple championships if you're not doing it on your own, depending on how your rebuilds go. So let's talk about this roster. You missed out on all the draft picks we had and all the moves we made, kind of jumping forward this way. But is it that important? We'll see. Josh Allen's still here. He's on his first of a 2-year contract. He just signed to return. We did draft Cooper Lowe in the first round this season. He's not a development. He's regular development, but we might be moving on from Josh Allen next year or the year after. So it was a QB-heavy draft. We drafted later in the draft. Didn't have to move. Just took him where he was, and away we go. Well, and then we have Braylon Allen. We just let Cook go. Never had great success. We're already having a better season with Braylon Allen. He actually was signed last year, and he was the best running back available. No one was better drafted or anything like that. He's getting boost from his coaches, but Braylon Allen actually missed the entire season for us last year with a torn Achilles. So he's back, and he's doing very well. No abilities or anything, and we'll be using him pretty soon in a Chargers rebuild. Gilliam was here up until a couple years ago, and now we have Mitch Giamello we're building up, Keon Coleman, Slot God, Steven Mason, and George Boykin. They're on big deals now. We just re-signed them last year, and we have quite the receiving core here. Dontrell Peel, he's moved back and forth from being a wide receiver and tight end. Dom Woodson we just brought up after trading away a couple guys, and Darius Johnson we drafted this year, late round, and he's a hidden development superstar. But really can't get on the field. Dalton Kincaid's on another contract with us. He got the superstar. Gio Manning was a hidden development star tight end we brought in. A lot of this offensive line, some were drafted like Butler and Richardson and Winters, but the tackles, these guys I grew on the bench, and they started off just like Walt Bailey and build them up into starters. Greg Rousseau still here. It'll be really tough once he leaves. Dale Dickerson we brought in, and it's been a slow build for him. Just couldn't get a superstar or anyone with a good development there to build up faster. But it is what it is. We traded for Dexter Jeffrey at the beginning of the season for pennies on the dollar, and we drafted Will Culliver. So our D tackles are slowly getting better, and we're kind of grooming some guys here. Warren Mitchell might end up being a decent guy in a year or two. Drew Sanders we brought in along with Jack Campbell. We moved on from some more expensive linebackers that we had drafted, but we still have Jalen Holloway, who we drafted as a right outside linebacker, and he was a superstar X Factor. Bob Meadows, Wheatley, Calvin Shepard, Brian Stallworth. I mean, this is a tremendous cornerback room we have here, and we drafted all these guys, and the new guy, Stephon Wheatley, later in the draft type guy, and we had to start him right away. He was a hidden development superstar, and he got himself up to X Factor. Cole Bishop, he's been here the whole time. Marcus Bradford we drafted. Sean Davis, as you can see, he's a 78 overall, and he's a rookie we drafted. Cole Myers, okay, he was a linebacker. He was our left outside linebacker, and he's only 224 pounds. He's actually a pretty good safety. And I didn't realize this at first, but they put a lot of guys in the outside linebacker crew that are 6'2", and in the 225 range that really aren't linebackers, and they're kind of safeties or tweeners. So they actually go up in overall when you move them from linebacker to safety, depending what their scheme is. And these guys were zone. So fit right perfectly. Madison Burton. A lot of white guys on this team. We have Cardi and Mark Adams. I mean, who cares about kickers? All right, so that is the boring look at our team there. Let's look at the stats through the season. First in points, fifth in passing yards, second in rush yards. This is a new thing. This is a Braylon Allen thing. We've really never done great in rushing, and if we did, it's because Josh Allen added to those yards, but Braylon Allen's kind of driving us right now as far as having good rushing numbers. We're ninth in points allowed. We've really struggled on defense, and going to this season, we decided to finally change up the playbook. Because the last 2 years, we were not in any green defensively, and we needed a change. So we are in the Packers playbook, and just based off record-wise, it was the right move. Maybe not in all greens yet. We'll see how that happens towards the end of the season. But it looks like the right move. Stats-wise, Josh Allen is fifth in the league. He's got 2,300 yards passing. He's probably going to go over 4,500 yards passing again. 27 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. I believe that's leading the league in touchdowns. Braylon Allen has 674 yards rushing and 5.2 yards in average. That is tremendous, especially in this playbook, which doesn't run a lot at the running back position, because Josh Allen gets his numbers. But Braylon Allen is just a different animal, and I suggest you trade for him whenever you can. So do that. Keon Goldman having another great season. He's just don't take him out of the slot. He belongs in the slot. The last few years, I know Josh Allen got the MVP, but they were more down years for Keon Coleman. He belongs in the slot. And then we have Mason and Boykin, really good players. And I mean, look, he even has 190 yards receiving. Braylon Allen, he'll probably, get a little bit more than that. But Cook was not getting it done. He was undersized. I don't care how fast he was. Weight matters at running back, I believe. It's a big thing. Weight and strength. So those are the stats. All right. Well, you're caught up to what was going on. I want to talk about the playbook of the defense real quick, because the Bills, we had to train to stop the deep ball almost every week. And every once in a while, you'd meet a team like the Bengals, and they would just put up a ton of points. I mean, they're probably going to put up a ton of points anyway, but it wasn't getting done against the Bengals. So we did switch to the Green Bay Packers playbook, which it says it's a 3-4, but it's actually a 4-3 if you look at the formations in it. You have like 1-3-4 formation in it. And the results have been pretty good as far as wins go. And from my experience with the Packers, when you train with them on defense, you can train to stop the highest rated passing, whether it's short, medium, or deep. It doesn't have to just be deep or short. So that's just a little housekeeping thing there. Let's advance. Let's get to next week, and then towards the end of the season, see if we get this team back to the Super Bowl. It's a tough road going through the AFC. So we get a loss. All right, that's awesome. We did this together. We got a loss. That's so amazing. I know we were down some players, but whatever. Let's see at the end of the season. We finished 15-2. The last time you saw us, well, we lost that game, and we haven't lost since. This is probably one of the best teams I've ever put together. 92 overall, 93 on offense, 92 on defense. Number 1 in points, 5th in pass yards, 4th in rush yards, 4th in points against, 21st in pass defense. But when you're stopping the run and you're scoring a lot of points, teams are going to have to throw on you. Let's look at the stats. I haven't looked at them. Josh Allen, 5th in passing, 1st in passing touchdowns, 1st in QB rating. That's ridiculous. 48 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 4,500 yards passing, just getting over 4,500. And he also had 10 rushing touchdowns and 438 yards. That's an MVP right there for sure. Braylon Allen, 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. That is pretty good. And he doesn't have any abilities. And I'm not sure how much more that would help, but it definitely helps. 87 receptions, 1,400 yards receiving, and 23 touchdowns for Keon Coleman. No second 1,000-yard wide receiver. I'm surprised by that. It is what it is. Keon Coleman just sucks everything up in the slot. Defensively, Cole Myers led us in tackles. I mean, he's a sub-package linebacker. Greg Rousseau with 11 sacks. And then our DT is getting it done with 6.5 and 5. Holloway has 2 sacks and 3 interceptions. Daryl Dickerson sucks. 2 sacks? Come on, bro. Cole Bishop with 4 interceptions. Followed by Jalen Holloway, Wheatley, and Bob Meadows. Our corner's just not getting it done. Let's go look at the passing leaders. Joe Burrow, of course. I got to see what this Titans playbook is because that's ridiculous. 4,800 yards. Daryl Vasher and Banyan all throwing for a ridiculous amount of yards, but Keenan Allen has number 1 touchdowns. Mahomes, what happened to Mahomes? What happened to Mahomes here? How many games did he play? He played 17. They must, I guess, had a lot of rushing yards. Bijan Robinson. Yeah, Pacheco had 1,200. I guess that would take away from him. 15 rushing touchdowns for Kenneth Walker. But receiving, Jamar Chase, what a career. Just always over 100 yards catching, 1,200 yards, only 5 receiving touchdowns though. How about Kyle Pitts with 100 catches and 1,000 yards? Amon-Ra and CeeDee Lamb, followed by Keon Coleman. Slot is king. We got to check out this Titans playbook, but Keon Coleman, your leader in touchdowns. Let's go. We won't look at defense because sometimes it glitches and kicks you out. Second overall offense. Well, we know what it is passing wise. Right there, man. We are up there with the best in the business. How about defense? Chargers give up the least passing yards. Least rushing. Bills, baby. 29 sacks. Only 29 sacks, though. Who had the most sacks? Texans, Seahawks, Chargers, Cardinals, Saints. I think that Saints defense might need to get a look-see. Maybe. Eagles 14 and 3. All right, we gotta look at this Titans team, and then we'll get to the next round. See who we're playing in the playoffs. But 15 and 2. We've had a 17 and 0 record with this team. This season, 15 and 2. Of course. I mean, we have such a good team. Staff, schemes. We are looking for the Titans. Philly. Oh. Okay. Is Philly like... I mean, just playbooks, are they just always changing? Let's look at the Titans. Yeah, not much here on the ground. A lot of yards, not a lot of touchdowns. What kind of player is this guy? He's a field general. Does he have speed? Not really. I want to see, is he, if this guy doesn't scramble, he's a pocket passer, then that could explain why he's paranoid decision maker. He's balanced, so, conservative? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what, I would think that guy would be like a pocket passer, and that's why the Eagles playbook all of a sudden throws for 4,800 yards, because that guy, he's not a rusher, and he turned a rushing playbook for QB into a passing play. Who the fuck knows? Anyway, let's get to the next round and see who we're playing. We have some new blood in the division round of the playoffs. We got the Texans. We haven't really seen them that much. They have a 91 overall defense. That's really good, especially for a CPU team. And not only that, but we're hurting. We're missing Cole Myers, Daryl Dickerson, Bobby Richardson, Jack Campbell, and Mitchell Giamello. That's 5 starters. How the fuck does that happen? I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. And the Texans, well, they're completely healthy. So we are kind of in trouble here. Playoff bracket wise, well, we could have the Bengals waiting for us again. Hey man, the Bengals they're getting it done. So this is probably an advance to see if we're gonna face the Bengals again. All right, well, let's do it together. And we win, and we don't have to face the freaking Bengals. Unbelievable. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Let's look at this game. 35-13. Too much for them. Josh Allen is a hero. 328 yards passing, 5 passing touchdowns. Only 2 rushing yards. And Braylon Allen, 69 yards. Great number there. Dalton Kincaid just showing up big in the playoffs here. 10 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Keon Coleman, 10 for 99 and 3. George Boykin, he is Mr. Playoffs, 7 for 71 and a touchdown. He always shows up in the playoffs. Stephen Mason always disappears, it seems like. But, we have depth, and we got it done. All right, so we are somewhat healthy. We have 3 of the 5 players back. Still missing our starting end and our starting strong safety. So I don't see us losing this matchup. I've put my foot in my mouth multiple times in rebuilds, but you got to take advantage of not facing one of the 3 best teams in the AFC. Chiefs had a down year. Bengals failed to make it back to this point. They're not going to three-peat. And I don't know where the Ravens are. 11-6. They still made the playoffs. So we're getting away with an easy one here. And we're going to face, I think it looks like the Saints. So, we can enact our revenge on the Saints if we can get past the Broncos. So let's do this together. And we're going to be facing the Broncos, and we did it. Let's go. Not as excited as I probably should sound, but we did it. We're going back to the Super Bowl, boys and girls. 41-35. How to do it with the offense. Josh Allen. Another year of just being unbelievably dominant. 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, an interception. What went wrong there, Joshua? Mason with 7 for 107 yards. Keon Coleman, 3 touchdowns for 2 straight games. 9 for 101, 3 touchdowns. Boykin getting another playoff touchdown. I think that's like a huge streak he's had going back many, many seasons. So quite the win there, and we get to face a team I don't think I faced too much in my rebuilds, and that's the Buccaneers. Weekly awards, of course, could be probably Josh Allen. He's just unbelievable, and it is Josh Allen. We are at the Super Bowl, taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll talk about them in a sec. Let's look at the yearly awards. Josh Allen, third straight year named MVP. Does he get cursed? Sean McDermott, Coach of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year is Keon Coleman over Josh Allen. 23 touchdowns will do it. Defensive Player, Jimmy Lynch. Offensive Rookie, Lloyd Moss. Max Lynch is your defensive rookie. Best QB, of course, is Josh Allen. Braylon Allen gets best running back. Keon Coleman. Best wide receiver. Best O-lineman, Thurman Winters, and he went up to a superstar. So pretty good there. Jamie Lynch and Larry Way leading for the Texans. Pretty good there. Best linebacker, Max Crosby, still getting it done. L'Jarius Sneed is your best DB, and best kicker is Tyler Bass. Let's talk about the Broncos. They are actually in the Baltimore Ravens playbook. The quarterback isn't really fast enough to really run this system, but it's a system that gets you to the playoffs. The Ravens playbooks are kind of pretty good. We got the edge in record, overall, personnel, all that stuff. So this should be a really easy Super Bowl and a walk-off. 15-2, getting it done after years of failure in the playoffs. You just have to have things go your way and face really not good teams. Didn't face any of the big teams, even out of the NFC. We didn't get the Eagles. We didn't get the 49ers or the Saints. So we have a pretty easy road, and I expect a win here. I guarantee it. Let's advance. Really taking our time here. Go to the recap, and we won the Super Bowl. Josh Allen's your MVP. MVP of the league, MVP of the Super Bowl, 38-21. Never in doubt. Let's go to the schedule and take a look at what happened in this game. Josh Allen actually threw 2 picks, but he threw for 417 yards. 4 touchdowns. Rushed in the touchdown. Keon Coleman, 8 receptions, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns. George Boykin, he had his touchdown, and he went over 100 yards. Keon Coleman, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns. And he just missed going over 100 yards in 3 straight games. He's awesome in the slot in this playbook. Roberts, the tackle, had 2 sacks. Darrell Dickerson actually almost doubled his or equaled his season total with a sack and a half. Where you been, bud? Well, that's a great win there. It's a great win. We have cap issues for sure. We can talk about that. I'm not going to go any further with this rebuild. I just want to make sure we got back to the Super Bowl and talk about whether or not this playbook is good enough to be a dynasty-worthy playbook. I'm not really sure it is. We've had some great teams with the Buffalo Bills. They run a 4-3, and I'm not sure that's the greatest defense you want that produces multiple championships. And plus, you're in the AFC. You got to go through the Chiefs. I can't say it enough. To who you have to get through to have a dynasty, it's just too hard. there's some amazing quarterbacks and teams. Uh, it's really hard. So great rebuild. I love this team. It's one of my favorites. Before we get out of here, we'll talk about. No, we won't because we're not in the resigning period. But we got some problems. We got some big decisions we'd have to make. Like, what are we doing with Josh Allen? I was gonna get rid of him if we didn't win a Super Bowl. We won a Super Bowl, so we got to keep this guy. I just drafted a quarterback to be his replacement, and that looks like that's not gonna happen. But anyway, check out the Buffalo Bills offense. It's a great offense. Um, Feed that slot. Put your best wide receiver in that slot position. Maybe don't use a 4-3 defense. I prefer the 3-4 defenses myself. Did a video on that. And our next rebuild's coming. I'm behind. I wanted to get this out. Actually, when this one's coming out, I want the LA Chargers to come out. So we already got a sneak peek of what Braylon Allen can do in a playbook that doesn't really give the ball to a running back that much. So now we're going to put him in an offense where we feed the running back. So there you go. All right. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you very soon with the Chargers rebuild. Later.